All right, folks. Hi there. This is Kim Willis with another in my scintillating interview series, and I'm very fortunate that I've had some good guests on so far, and today will certainly be no exception because I've got Jenny Jordan, who is a fantastic marketer in her own right. And she's had a wealth of experience marketing different products, affiliate products, and so on. She's also developed her own products, and she's got a new business that she's got up and running. And I've got actually, you can see it now on your screen, and it's called Need a VA. So we'll certainly find out about that. All right, yeah, so we'll talk more about that. But I just want to say, first of all, hi, Jenny, and how are you today?
Kim, thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm fantastic. Really looking forward to this interview. I've heard all about these interviews, so I'm very blessed to be on your show today.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, Jenny, I've known you for a reasonable space of time, and in fact, I think I originally met you in Cabo St. Lucas very briefly at perhaps at a breakfast, one of the breakfasts that they were putting on at a conference that was being run over there that we both attended along with a couple of hundred other people. But and we've sort of kept in touch on and off since then, really, and so it's great that you're here today in a more formal arrangement. So there won't be any bad language today from me, Jenny. You can rest assured that I am going to be at my purest best today. But yeah. So Jenny, first of all, let's just kick it off with a simple question, if you can just answer this simple question, and it's really to do with your story. How did you get started in the online world? What were you doing before then? Just share with us your journey.
Oh yes, sure, Kim. That's quite an interesting story because I started as in a government department as an executive assistant, and what I did is that at the same time, I was living in a boarding house for 120 odd boarders. And so it was like a working mother. I'd go to work during the day and then I would go home to look after the boys in the evening. Now, I was a single person at that time, and it was quite an exciting sort of lifestyle. It didn't give you much of a life, but it gave me a sort of a family feel with 120 boys. It was never dull. They got up to all sorts of mischief. But what I did is that I found a partner and we got married and we were living at the school. And what happened is that it was near dinner time, and one of the students ran up and said there'd been an accident on the corner, and bring all the emergency stuff up on the corner, like blankets and pillow. And I'm running across the football oval, which is not a pretty sight anyway, me running. But I got up on the corner, and on the ground, bleeding, was my husband, and he'd been hit by a four-wheel drive of his motorbike. So he laid on the ground and until the doctor came and took him to hospital, and it was 5 months they kept him in hospital. And in that time I had an investment property and renovation business, and that you remember that time when property collapsed in Australia, and a quite a decent slump at the time.
Yeah.
And it was very, very difficult because not only had I lost my husband's in hospital, but I had to find a way to basically pick up the shortfall because obviously he's in hospital, he can't work. And I was working at the school as well as my executive office position. And I had to pick up another job, would you believe, at a club just to pay off my debtors at that stage. And and it was terrible. I can tell you, I was tired. You know that. Yeah, it was. And the banks were circling like sharks, you know, because they wanted their money from the the mortgages that I wasn't able to fully pay for because of all the expense. And it was at that time that I looked at the internet because after 5 months, he was due to come home, and he'd already had 12 operations, and it was starting him off from square one with physio, and he needed help. And I couldn't work those hours anymore. I was physically tired.
Yeah.
So I looked at the internet like we all do and making money online, and quite quickly got into the suck-in mode of buying products that promised everything and delivered nothing. And we can all relate to those sort of products. And all it did was make me poorer. You know, I would get my credit card out, and at this stage of the game, it was nearly in meltdown mode. You know, you get it out of your purse, and the card would sort of groan when you start to call the numbers out to buy yet another program. So I was at home, and I was convinced that the program that I was watching was going to be the one. And I got the card out that another time, and I went to bed, and I was so excited because when I woke up, I thought that my bank account would be filled with dollars.
When was this, Jenny? What year?
We're talking about 8 years ago, Kim. You know, it was difficult. Just learning programs because at the time I was a 50-something person and I hadn't had exposure to the internet, so it was all brand new. And if you can remember, back then 8 years ago, it was a lot of HTML that you needed to know. And it's like another language, you know, my goodness. But I went to bed that night, and I jumped up and had a coffee and waited for the computer to do its rounds, and opened the computer, and there was nothing, absolutely zero. And that's a sinking feeling at that time when you depend on that money to be there, and it wasn't. So I went from, I bounced around a little bit from program to program until I found one, just one, and I made, I was doing AdSense at that time.
Okay.
You try and put different ads on your website, for those who don't know, and people would click on that and you'd make a few cents.
Yeah.
Well, after 12 months, I could call myself an internet marketer because I made a total of 15 cents.
Wow.
It was such a, I can just imagine, you know, it was just such an exciting moment to make something after, you know, all those many months of making nothing. But Kim, you know, it's not something that you and I do. We don't lay down and die. We keep on at it and learning more.
Yeah.
And then we started to I started to avoid the shiny objects and just focus on the one or the two things. And that made a huge difference by concentrating all my energy into those sort of things. And I can remember at this stage I got involved with Matt's program.
Yeah.
And my husband, you know, he was getting more mobile then, and he was sort of giving me those evil eyes as they walked past the office. Have you had those, you know, where they see you working alone in that office and give you those daggers as they walk past because you should be with them? Yeah, I've got them quite regularly, but I avoided them. And what he didn't know is that he wasn't supportive of what I was doing because he could see the statements and they weren't reflecting in a good way. But what he didn't know is that I was doing well online at this stage. I started to make some money, and it got a bit of momentum to it. And I knew what I was doing. I started to believe in what I did and just kept on at it. And at a stage where I knew I had qualified to get a car and have it paid for, I said to my husband on a Sunday afternoon, I can remember it now, it was wet and raining, I said, let's go out and have a look at those cars. and he just remarked that it was a waste of time. You know, why are we dreaming about window shopping? I said, yeah, it will be great just to have a look on what you want. So I dragged him out there, and we tried a few cars, and he got into and out of one that he liked particularly, and I had already arranged with the salesman to have the keys, and that was a really special moment because he said that he liked the car, and I said, well, you can have it. And he just looked at me with a look of disbelief, and I just said, yeah, we can have the car. And to me, that was one of the most exciting parts of internet marketing, to be able to prove not only to yourself but to others that you can make it online.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Was that the Mercedes?
Yes, it was Mercedes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Fantastic. Well, I qualified for one of those as well. I haven't got it because I've been travelling so much that it's not practical. But yeah, it's certainly a good incentive. And so, just with your husband, did he end up fully recovering from the accident, the injuries incurred?
Oh yeah, it's like a saga though. It's he actually got golden staph as we. And again, he was in hospital and on life support. So my life has been quite a bit of a drama in the background. But he is permanently on double crutches, and but he is mobile, and he kept the leg that the doctor said that he would lose. Yeah, he's fine. He's made use of the life that he's got. It's quite a different life than what he had.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's motivated.
All right. Now, one of the things that I often talk to my students about is entrepreneurial mindset. Having an entrepreneurial mindset is important, and we have to, I think, sort of cultivate that mindset as much as possible. It seems that listening to your story, that you already had that mindset well before you embarked on the online world journey. You were mentioning about a property business, renovating. Was it renovating properties or trading them? What?
Yes, we would buy properties that were, the ugliest, and I'd be one of those girls that would get it, tool belt and swing a hammer, So
yeah. Okay, fixer-uppers. I think they call them fixer-uppers. You can fix them up and.
Yes, they're a bit more than fixer-uppers, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you had those urgings for a prolonged period of time, even well before you embarked on the online journey. Is that fair to say?
Most definitely, and I think that once you have an entrepreneurial sort of mindset, you always see things differently, or you see more opportunities in the way that you look at different things. You don't see black and white. You see, you virtually fish where people aren't fishing, so to speak. So people don't get you, and this is why. Conferences are such a great idea to gather with other people that think like you and they're wired like you.
Yeah.
Because the normal person doesn't get how you think at all.
And certainly, speaking of conferences, I mean, it's really about networking, isn't it? And meeting other people, hopefully meeting people of like mind. And certainly one thing that I have noticed about you is that you are a fantastic networker, both online and offline. How big a part does networking play in your overall business activities?
It's huge. With people that you meet face to face, that's different again to online. But the fact that I can tell you a short story about someone that made a big difference to the way that I was online as well. I was at a conference in Cabo, and Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, right? Yep,
Costa Rica,
last year.
Costa Rica, because it was US or in Cabo. and I wanted to get to know this speaker, and it was TJ Roller,
Oh, yeah.
and I just couldn't get near him. It was just so frustrating because I heard him speak and I thought, wow, he'd be a lovely person to get up and know, but I didn't have a chance to speak to him. And I had to leave the conference early and I had a 5 a.m. taxi.
Yeah.
And waiting outside the taxi was TJ himself. And we talked non-stop to the airport, and then he asked if we could sit together on the plane going back to Texas and Houston, sorry, and we spoke non-stop. Now that relationship that I forged with him is that once we got off the plane and he went home and I went home, and 2 weeks after that, I received a package from the States, and inside that package was every book that TJ had written.
Oh, wow.
And I was just blown away. But that was just one relationship. I've made many like that, and online is... that's where you amuse me. You crack me up because you've got so many different personas. There's someone that's normally quiet, really pretty wild. Some of the things that you get up to online, Kim Willis.
Jekyll and Hyde. I'm a real Jekyll and Hyde. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And you just crack me up. I look and I think it's your way of actually getting. To know people is very different to mine, but if it's got a sort of a shock value that you're using that creates interest and causes engagement, because I've seen some funny photos of you and all of a sudden you see lots and lots of comments, and it's a lot of fun, and I think that's the key, to market yourself. But I know it's you. You like to do things to shock people.
Yeah.
You're definitely outside the guidelines sometimes.
A bit quirky there. But whatever works is the I guess the right thing to say. What's your favourite social media platform from a business point of view, a business getting point of view? Is it Facebook, or are you more active on? Because I know obviously I see you a lot on Facebook, but do you use any of the other platforms?
Yes, and it's only recently that I've learned the difference. I knew the difference with LinkedIn,
right,
and how beneficial the relationships are on there. They're different altogether. They're more business minded, and they're business owners, and they're a different conversation to someone that you're talking to on Facebook, for instance.
Yeah.
And I've made many leads through LinkedIn. And I've only just discovered it, because as a new person, it's really hard. Which do I get involved with? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then there's Instagram. You've only got so many hours in a day.
Absolutely. So, how do you said you generated many leads on LinkedIn? How did you do that?
Right. Well, there's a few ways that you can do that. The one that I used mostly, and even though I've shared this method with people, I still see them doing it wrong. They go in there and they spam groups there. But I go in purely to offer value, give feedback on comments, add some information that I know would help the group.
Yeah.
And I'm looked at as an authority then. I'm not looked, and it's like when someone tries to join your group in school, for instance, you're just wanting to sort of slide under the radar. You don't want to be coming in screaming, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. They're all going to look at you with a look of disdain on their face. They don't want to know the spammer, and you'll get kicked out of the groups.
Yeah.
So my strategy was to go into the groups and find groups that are more suited to my business, and you can actually invite yourself to up to 50 groups on LinkedIn.
Yep.
and it does take some time. Some of them are personally accepted, so you may not get accepted into the whole 50. But um, basically, that's what I do, and I would just trawl through the comments, and sometimes you're not even allowed to make a comment unless you put up anything new, unless you've been there as an active member. So it is really a membership of a different sort. It's a more professional uh, site, I suppose, compared to Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. I'm fairly new to LinkedIn myself, so
Yeah.
I'll be testing that one. But
Yeah.
just because people are always asking about traffic strategies, lead generation strategies, etc. So other than using social networking and offline networking as well, traditional networking, what other traffic and lead generation strategies have you used over the years that you like and that have worked for you?
Right. Well, I saw at early on that it's really important to master just the one traffic source. And at that time, Facebook was very flaky and I didn't sort of get it. And I've burnt a lot of money there. So you tend to radiate against what you know or what suits you better. And I know it's not a favourite of yours, but it was solo ads that tempted me at first. But I had a more positive experience. I learnt how to become a solo ad provider, and that has been very, very valuable because you are in charge of your traffic. You know what you've got. You know how to segregate the list and clean the numbers and from the ones that are not going anywhere to the bounce ones. And but I had someone leading me, and that takes me back to getting good coaches.
Yeah.
Whether it's it's because they quick start your business. And I've used coaches for different things, and traffic was something that I found was really exciting to learn from someone that was in that industry and getting results, and they saved me from the pitfalls that I would have fallen down the rabbit holes of wasting money, Kim. So
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big believer
I'm grateful for that.
in coaching and mentoring, and in fact, I don't think I'd be in this internet marketing industry today. I started in 2006, and right from the get-go, I had a mentor, and she helped me set up a simple campaign on Google AdWords.
Yeah.
That was a very different Google AdWords back then. It was much easier, and I don't use them anymore. But certainly I got a great result. But I didn't have a clue about all this internet marketing stuff, so I needed somebody to sort of hold the hand, and sort of guide me through. And I often think, and I've had other coaches along the way as well since then, but I often think, well, gee, what would have happened if I didn't have that sort of that early practical support? I'd probably be just another statistic, another internet marketing failure. And so yeah, the coaching is critically important, I think.
Oh, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and you are right that people get disheartened with the results that they're not getting, and
Yeah.
it takes them longer. And there is, I don't believe that there enough education on free leads, because free will take you time to get, and they're not told that. They're not told that it's going to take 3 to 6 months of learning before you make your first dollar. That is a really important thing to know, that you should, like anything, if you're going to be studying to be an accountant, you don't put up your shingle and then you're an accountant. You've got to go through the books and educate yourself. Internet marketing is no different, Ken. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's still absolutely. It's still an apprenticeship. I guess one of the differences between this type of apprenticeship and an apprenticeship that you might get in the offline and traditional business world is that instead of it being a 3 to 4 year apprenticeship or a university course that might take 5 years, before you're earning, proper money, here, 3 to 6 months apprenticeship, and you should be good to go. You should be. I mean, it doesn't mean to say that you can't make money earlier. I made money very quickly, but most people are not going to make money very quickly.
That's right.
They're not going to make money in their first month, unless they bring a list or a particular skill set to the table. Chances are it is going to take longer, and they have to do that apprenticeship, but it's only 3 to 6 months.
Nothing.
It's nothing. And yet people just, I don't know, they just think, oh, you mean I've got to, I'm not going to make any money for the first 3 months? Well, probably you won't make any or much. You might make a little, but it's not, you're not going to get rich. In all probability, you're not going to be making, 10,000 a month or whatever. That's going to take longer. But compare it to a traditional business, where most traditional businesses, you invest a lot of money in them, and they don't even get to break even for the first 2 years.
Yeah, and that is also really important that pointed out, is that you should always, like you wouldn't open a brick and mortar shop and not pay for electricity or rent or stock. But internet marketers think once they've paid for a program, that's it. They don't.
The money will mysteriously appear. You gave a good analogy. Imagine, just to extend on that theme, if somebody invested, I don't know, $100,000 in a franchise, they paid $100,000 franchise fee. Just the mere fact that they paid $100,000 fee to be able to join that particular program, it means it's nothing. It's just, all they've done is they've paid a fee. No income is going to be generated until they take all the extra steps, and ultimately it's got to get to the point where you've got to find customers. And it always comes back to that, doesn't it? We have to find customers, and we have to learn how to do that, and that's what the apprenticeship is all about.
Yeah, and most definitely how to drive traffic and to focus and mindset, and there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts that with a good program you will get that. Or better still, having a coach that walks you through as well.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's move on and talk about your latest venture, needava.com. And now this is a beautiful looking website. I had a look at it the other day, and it looks great. It looks really good. And it's well, I don't want to steal your thunder, but essentially it's about outsourcing, which is another such a great topic. We could have a separate discussion just on outsourcing, but in a nutshell, just tell us what it's all about, what this site is going to do for people, or what the service that underpins it is going to do for people.
Sure. Well, it goes back to so as a frustration thing, because I didn't know how a lot of techie things worked, I was always intrigued about hiring someone to do that for me. And at the time it was very, very difficult, because I didn't know at the time it was going to be difficult. You make an inquiry online, and then you put your wish list of the things that you need to get done, and you close down the computer, and the next morning you come in, and I was horrified. There was between 60 to 80 applicants that had applied to do the tasks that I had written up. And so I had to then, I was desperate, I needed someone quickly. So without thinking, I just took people at face value that they could do the job. And I hired them. And that was the biggest mistake I've ever made. And that took my time, because I was training them. It took the fact that they couldn't do the task anyway. And I learned a lot about outsourcing at that stage. And anyway, long story short, I ended up with my own VA, and I've been with her for about 8 years now. I've always had her in the wings, and she is a godsend, I can tell you that now. So what I thought about starting my own company is that I know it all. You know, I've been an executive assistant for 10 years, so I know the business inside and out. I know marketing. I've got another skill set as well. So it was just before Christmas I decided to get my own outsourcing company. And here is the twist. Here is why it's different. It is no longer the fact that you need to make a choice of VAs. You apply online, and the project manager will talk to you. She'll know a bit more about your business, and she will best fit VAs to suit your business.
Oh, that's good.
That's different, again, to what's out there.
Yeah, that's a good point of difference, isn't it?
Yeah, a big point of difference. And what we found is that people that are beginning online, they don't know what they want. You know, so because of my background in marketing, I know exactly what they need. So what they do, Kim, and it's really easy to know, is that the services that they may want to help them might spread over a couple of VAs. It might be social media, it might be, techie things. And they pay in advance a set amount of dollars, and it's monitored so that the VAs will get started on their work, and the hours are clocked off, and if there's any hours over, and then we go back and say, what else can we do for you, sort of thing. So I'm really excited. We've been very warmly accepted by a lot of internet marketers that I've just mentioned online, and the business is going very well.
Yeah, that's great. So why should somebody hire a VA?
Okay. Why they should hire a VA is that technology and the tasks that you need online are growing daily. The one-man band is not going to be able to work on their business. They're working in their business.
Yeah.
So by having an extra pair of hands to have people do your task for you, it affords you the time to step back from it and just make strategies to grow your business. It's been proven that if you stay as a one-man band, your business will not grow at all. So it's got the fact that it's going to save you time, which is money nowadays. I don't know about you, but it's, you can never get enough time in your day to do everyday things rather than being hooked up to a computer all day. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
And it's a godsend for people that are entering internet marketing. It gives them a kickstart to step back and to do their learning rather than focus on the setup of their business.
Yeah, so, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money either, does it?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Because you're using the talent pool from the Philippines, that's right, isn't it?
That's correct. And the beauty of it is that you might only want a VA for a few hours a week. You're not in a position to hire a full-time VA yet.
Yes.
But in those few hours in that week, you can achieve so much that, I know myself, my own learnings when I was learning something, it would take me double the time because I wasn't used to that environment at all. And they can do things very quickly. So.
And you find the Filipinos easy to work with?
Extremely so. Their English is their number one language as well. In fact, I've had a real estate business that I took on today, and they're on the phone to their clients, and they were just so impressed with how they sounded on the phone that they don't sound Filipino, and they're very, very gifted, that they are very humble people, and I just really enjoy working with that sort of in that sort of environment.
All right,
Yeah.
so I might actually on your services page here just to give people a bit of an idea, a better idea as to the sort of tasks that a PA can do for them. Say we've got here social media, including Facebook, Twitter. They can do article marketing for you, which is another strategy I like. Telemarketing, phoning leads, or customer service type calling. Live support, live chat. What else have you got here? Email support, ticketing, video editing. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Graphics designing. Yeah, graphics.
Yeah.
I use somebody to do my graphics. He's based in the Philippines. He's been with me now for several years. Does a great job. Fantastic. I mean, he'll work on Saturdays, not like even sometimes.
Aussies.
You're not like the Aussies. Oh no. It's 5 p.m. on Thursday. We stop work now.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
see, people would go to that service page and perhaps only think, oh, I'll get a VA to do just that one thing.
yeah, yeah. But there are lots
What
of
they don't realise is that they cherry pick across that.
yeah. Web development, blogs. I'm a blogger, and certainly having a VA can help with that. Social,
Syndicate articles, send them
yeah,
out, and
okay,
yeah. Um,
fantastic. Social
uh,
bookmarking, data mining, research, customer
yeah.
support service, virtual assistant, and much more. Wow. Yeah,
Transcribing is a good one too, because I had a job the other day transcribing off a video, and
yeah,
that was, yeah,
yeah.
and that's quite okay. We've got someone else's content written up,
Yeah,
so
imagine if you
yeah.
had to do that yourself, the
Yeah.
transcribing
Well,
work.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't do anything. I'm outsourced my life, Kim.
Actually, I was yesterday. I was converting an article that I had written into a PowerPoint presentation, and after an hour of copying and pasting the key points in the article onto the PowerPoint, and I still wasn't nearly finished. I'm thinking, why am I doing this myself? This is ridiculous. I could have a VA. I could have somebody in the Philippines
Yeah.
doing it faster, doing a better job, and not costing a lot of money. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's just so many things that we do that we could outsource, and then that frees up our time to work more creatively and work on the bigger issues, value adding,
Uh,
creating value, etc.
and it's getting lifestyle back into your life too,
Yeah,
because in the earlier days, we all burn the midnight oil just trying to keep up with what we need to know. But
yeah,
it's even got to the stage now that I can get them to watch a webinar and write down the main points. Like
yeah.
my time per hour is a lot more than what
More
I would
valuable.
pay
Yeah,
them to do.
that's
So
right.
that's enough.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Now,
Mm.
people wanting to get in touch with you, they can do it through this site, can't they? needava.com.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, they've got a form there that they fill in,
Fill in, yeah,
and it's also got their time zone that would help us as well.
yeah.
And you'll have someone call them back within 24 hours. It'll be one of my project managers.
Oh, fantastic. All
Mm.
right. Well, I've gone back to the home page. There's a little video, the welcome video. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, that's great. Do you have any other quick words of wisdom to share before we close off this interview, Jenny?
Um, and no, just never give up. Keep focused, and just do one method of marketing
Yeah.
at a time.
And
That,
stay
that
positive.
stay positive. Yeah.
That's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, critical.
Hmm.
Critical.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Jenny. That's great. We'll have this interview edited in more ways than one, and certainly I'm sure my audience is going to really love it. And thanks very much for coming on and being a guest.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Kim. It's been my pleasure.
That's great. Thanks, Jenny. Bye bye.
Bye.